Hello and welcome back to Eco Socialist. So today I thought I'd go through my veg box with you, well, my fruit and veg box that I get delivered, because maybe you're of two minds whether or not it makes sense to get a veg box for yourself. I think it makes a lot of sense if you maybe you live in a village that isn't hasn't got that many shops. Maybe you live in a town that doesn't have that much of a market, or you haven't got that many organic options. So yeah, let's get into it. Oh, by the way, in Wisbech we have the most amazing greengrocers. Just a little plug of them. They're awesome. Right, so I get mine from this place, Abel & Co. So this week I'll show you how it's packaged. It's usually shut like that, and then it's got string that goes across that way and across long way. So if you've got a couple of these, maybe you've ordered one of their fruit bowl boxes, they can stack them on top and carry them easier. So these boxes are returnable each time you make an order. They'll pick up your packaging when they drop off your next box for the following week. So this week I've got a punnet of mushrooms, and it's really lovely that these, unlike the supermarket ones, they're not in a plastic punnet. They don't have clean film all around them, so they're all getting all sweatified, but just a box that is made out of paper, a bit like you would have your paper egg box carton. So that's awesome, and I'm a big fan of mushrooms. Right, with their plastic packaging, again, if you can't get to somewhere where you can recycle this type of packaging, you can leave it out with your box. This can be left out with your box and they'll take it back and recycle it or reuse it or whatever they do, compost it. And this, if you leave it out, they'll recycle it for you, which is good. So it's a nice sized bag of baby spinach I've got to get through this week, which would be lovely. Not sure whether those will go in smoothies or ramen. Noodles, stir fries and things. Right. Bag of carrots. Nice big bag of carrots. Now this packaging is actually home compostable. You get some packaging and it says that it's compostable, but it takes absolutely ages to compost at home, right? This you can just chuck into your compost bin at home and it'll compost down. And I've actually started a mini experiment where I've got a bucket where I'm actually composting in my flat, and I've got the the ratio right, so it doesn't smell. It's got that kind of earthy smell that you get when you're walking in a forest somewhere. That's where you know that you're doing it right, and you do have to mix it up to get the aeration going. And you can put your hand on the outside and you can feel that it's warm, and you know that it's doing well. So it's warm and it's not smelling. So this, I've had a couple of these and they've gone into my compost bucket that's under my sink at the minute. I'm experimenting with that. And I don't know, I might get some free compost to top up my, or almost free compost to top up my houseplants with, and that'll be awesome. I like the idea of combining using that and my bokashi bin. I'll do a bokashi bin video for you guys soon, if you guys are curious. So anyway, what I've got left in here, these are all loose. So courgettes, they are awesome. I quite often put them in smoothies and things instead of avocado, because people put avocado in smoothies to make them creamier. These are a low-fat alternative to putting avocados in your smoothies, and they are usually cheaper and more often plastic-free in your supermarket, more often than not. And I've got a little bell pepper. I forgot to mention that the box that I got from these guys is their small fruit and veg box, and it lasts me as a vegan perfectly for about a week. And I think I have 1 leek left, I think, from last week's bunch of leeks, because they were really sizable leeks in my last box. Alright, so they usually have 2 types of fruit in each box. So this time I've got some kiwis, and because this is a set box, if you don't like kiwis like me, it's a little bit of a pain. That's sort of the only downside. I might try passing these on to some of my neighbours possibly, because there's not many foods, not many sort of fruits and vegetables that I don't like, but these make my tongue and lips go sore, so it's not nice. Right, and I've got some oranges to go through as well. I do also actually buy fruit on top of sort of this box as well, because my partner has it in his lunch, and I like to have some chopped up crunchy apples to sort of snack on sort of some of the evenings. It's really nice to have really cold fresh apples, especially with the sort of weather warming up, as a nice refreshing evening or sort of like after lunch snack. And sort of when I don't get apples sort of in here, I'll sort of top up with apples and bananas most weeks, to be honest, because I go through bananas sort of quite quickly. So a few onions as well. One hiding in the corner there, an onion. So I store these in a cotton bag that I hang on the back of my kitchen door, because I've heard that it's better for you to store them away from your potatoes. So I store my potatoes in a sort of brown paper bag, and this week I actually got them loose in Asda, but sometimes I'll order them from these guys because it's easier, but I had to get a few things in Asda for my partner's going back to work. So that worked out slightly cheaper, even though they're not organic, but my partner is the one that eats the most potatoes in this place. He's very much a meat and potato kind of guy. So yeah, once you sort of emptied your box, it's kind of, you can flat pack it, and yeah, they've reused this box several times. You can see the sort of labels on it here. You sort of press up the bottom like that and fold it, and I usually use an elastic band to sort of keep it flat, otherwise it will spring like that. And I just pop this in my hallway, ready for sort of next week when I'll pop it outside my door for them to pick up in the morning. Now, at the minute with the sort of pandemic, obviously there's some people will be having sort of a bit of anxiety with sort of the reusing things, but as long as you put this out the night before and not in the morning, so you haven't handled it, well, the risk of passing on anything to your delivery driver is very slim. So yeah, that's this. I also, on a weekly basis, I've signed up for their vegan pie club, because you can't get very interesting. There isn't any interesting vegan pies in the supermarket, and I like the ethics of this company. So you saw me sort of pick out one of their packaging when I was going through my recycling on one of my previous videos. So again, their packaging is returnable. So this packet will be left outside for them to recycle, recycled, this one, and they've got a little sort of, I'll just show you, see this. So yes, it's a lot of plastic for just one pie, but I know definitely that this gets recycled, and it makes my sort of diet a little bit interesting. What have I got today? I've got a sagaloo pie. Now they're wholemeal ones. They've stopped using pie cases for their sort of wholemeal ones, but they're gluten-free ones, which they do and they are very tasty. They have to obviously use a pie case because it doesn't have the gluten in the flour, so it's a lot more crumbly. So when they don't have to use it, they don't, and when they do, they do. And these are lovely sort of like deep pan pies. They're gorgeous, really. So this is spicy spinach, potato and coconut. So yummy. And obviously there's no plastic in this packaging, which is lovely. And they work with sort of sustainable growers and things, so it's all their ingredients is organic, and it's a nice surprise each week because sort of you get a different one, you don't know what you're gonna get, so I like it. Pie mash. Or pie mash and some type of veg anyway. It's always a good standby. And the stuff that they use to insulate it, they have, not so frozen anymore, but these little ice packs they put in there for any sort of shopping that might be sort of perishable or might need refrigerating. So they put that in there, and the whole thing is lined by a sheet of wool that is reusable again, and it's made of British wool. Yeah, completely natural British wool, and I think this is recycled plastic. So yeah, that goes in there, sort of folded over with this. Not over keen on the fact that sort of, you know, the wool issue. But since it is being reused, I suppose it's not as bad. But anyway, all of this will get picked up with my veg box when it gets collected again. Right. Oh, I also signed up to their weekly surprise thing. So they just send you something, a random thing that is, well, not worth under the sort of amount you pay for that surprise. So I think it's about £2 something for their surprise. I'll put the link for Able and Cole down in the sort of description below, and you can have a check out of all their things. They have actually expanded their capacity now, so they can actually take on new customers, which is good. So the surprise thing I got this time was these gluten-free like snack bars. I would call them snack bars because I wouldn't call them cereal bars, I suppose. Today, shamefully, I didn't particularly like them, and the packaging is not good, although they are organic, so they've got that going for them. But I've got a thing where I don't particularly like certain things that they mix with coconut. I like coconut in my curries, maybe on top of fresh fruit instead of cream. Not so much in my cereal bars with these little bits in. I mean, if you're a big fan of coconut, you'll probably like these, and they've got no processed sugar or anything in. So I wanted to like them, but I don't. So maybe I'll find another neighbour or friend that might like these instead of me. So sort of two things going, but they're not going to go to waste. Yeah. So with sugar. With Able and Cole. Taking the mug mic up with me. Actually really like their ethics, because they're trying to change, well, they might have already changed, I haven't checked their website, but they're trying to change all their delivery vans over to electric, which I think is amazing, because that means it sort of really lowers that delivery carbon footprint down. And throughout this sort of pandemic, I've had updates in my veg and fruit box on what they're doing for their staff and things. And I think they're a really good example of a company that cares about not only sort of what they're kind of doing to the environment, but the people that are producing it, and the people that are working sort of in their packing plants, and the people who are delivering, and yeah, there are kind of these little bits of information, like in their canteen they've changed over to making their staff pack lunches so that they didn't have to line up, so they could social distance easier. So they were producing free packed lunches for their staff, which I think was awesome. Really good idea. Obviously, the sort of packaging in those packed lunches for a company like sort of Able and Cole would have been sort of more on the sustainable side. It'd still be disposable, shamefully, in this sort of pandemic, I think. But the fact that they cared enough to do that for their staff speaks volumes about their company, and I'm really going to quite happily sort of keep getting my shopping delivered from them, because I think it's really important to support companies that will treat their staff respectfully, you know. Oh, something else that I actually got, which is really good. I found a plastic-free protein powder. Now, I don't need a protein powder as a vegan, but I get a little bit peckish and lazy after I've done a workout, and I'm really trying to kind of build some muscle on these skinny arms. You know? And they are stocking this, which is a plastic-free vegan protein powder, which is amazing. And it's another one that is, the packet on the inside looks like plastic. Looks like plastic, but it's actually home compostable. And this doesn't have any of that weird synthetic stevia type sweetener in, and I dunked my finger in there and it actually tasted good when I sort of popped it in my mouth. And now I don't find that with many sort of protein powders, so I'm really looking forward to sort of trying this one. I mean, I don't usually, not over keen on the really overpowered sort of flavoured things, but I know I'm only really going to be using this as a booster for an after workout smoothie. So this is apparently supposed to be really good in porridge as well, which I'm going to have to try, because that is going to be a sort of very filling after workout thing, but maybe not so much in the warmer weather. But yeah. My other protein powder that I used for a little while was Grape Tree's pea protein. This one is actually a mix of pea protein, sunflower protein. Yeah, it's actually got coconut blossom sugar in, but I can't taste an overpowering coconut taste. It just tastes, oh, excuse me, natural. So there's none of that. You know what I mean, when you sort of had some squash or a cup of tea with like a sort of sweetener tablet or something, and you get that back taste. It was none of that. It just kind of, it almost had the gentle sweetness of a banana, but then that was probably some of the vanilla. And the vanilla in this is actually natural vanilla, and it has vitamin C, magnesium and iron in, as well as all the essential amino acids covered. So I looked at other ones online. I looked at Viva Life. Was it Viva? Viva Life, I think it was. And they had compostable packaging as well. But I think this one was just a little bit more appealing to me, because I don't think I need all of that other stuff, and I think they had stevia or something in theirs. And I'm not a bodybuilder, I just sort of want to sort of work on getting healthier, if you know what I mean. So this is going to help a lot. And it's going to be enjoyable to drink. Anyway, so I think I'll wrap up here today. Maybe in the future I'll do a video on how I do my bokashi, and maybe a progress report on sort of my trial of doing compost in a flat without a garden. Maybe next week I'll do a video on how I actually store my vegetables to get the most out of them as well. So yep, look forward to some of those. And as usual, I'll just say goodbye, and remember that we all deserve to live in an equal society where we're all respected and our planet is respected with us. And that is especially important at the minute. I think sort of things like this kind of get our it helps us get things into perspective, especially with situations like this, with sort of quarantine and things. being, I think, lifted before they need to be. So I think it's blatantly obvious why it's being lifted personally, but that can be another video. So anyway, mwah. Love you guys, and take care of yourselves and your families, and I'll see you again in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below, because it really helps me. And if you've got any suggestions, also comment below, because I'd really like to know what you think. So bye.